Here is a short verse, and it's well becoming the weekly portion of Vayelech, which is the shortest weekly portion of all weekly portions. You can see it's just 30 verses. So if you're bar mitzvah on this Shabbat and you plan on reading the whole weekly portion, it's not that bad. It's only 30 verses that you have to learn and memorize very well. Remember, the Torah scroll of which we read in the synagogue does not have the vowel pointing, does not have the nikud, does not have the te'amim, okay, the cantillation notes, nothing, just the letters, and you have to really know the text already. So that's the shortest weekly portion among all weekly portions. We have two sentences here. Vayelech Moshe, Vaydaber et hadevarim ha'ele el kol Yisrael. One could claim for two sentences or one, but essentially we can talk about two sentences. Again, subject and a verb. Vayelech, third person masculine singular. The root is hey lamed chaf, right? One very common verb, right? More than 1,500 times in the Bible, almost as common as the next verb, okay, which is more than 2,600 times. Vaydaber et hadevarim ha'ele el kol Yisrael. Okay, so we're talking about syntax, and we've distinguished between these two sentences. The subject here is in the same incorporated the subject Moses, which is incorporated to the verb vaydaber. When we have the verb vaydaber, what do we have to have? When someone says or speaks, he has to speak something, okay? So there is what we call a complement as opposed to an adjunct. In this case, the direct object, et hadevarim ha'ele, marked by the et, which is almost always a definite direct object marker. It tells us that hadevarim ha'ele is the object, is what we call a complement. We see the verb and the vaydaber, and it requires an object, a direct object. So this is why it's a complement. Vaydaber et hadevarim. It is even what we call an inner object. Okay? Why is it an inner object? Because you can see the same root, daled, bet, and resh in the verb as well as in the object. He spoke these words in English, but the word for speaking and the word for word is not the same thing. In Hebrew, you can see it's the same root, daled, bet, and resh, for the verb vaydaber, third person masculine singular, piel, vayktol verb, and the object hadevarim, the words. Again, davar, word. Same root for word and for wording something. Okay, so he worded these words, el kol Yisrael. Now, this is already what we call an adjunct. Okay, an adjunct, here the indirect object, to whom he spoke these words, is not required by the verbs. By the verb vaydaber, you must have an object. You don't have to have an indirect object. So he spoke these words. He worded these words. Oh, I'm adding something else that is not required by the verb. This is what we call an adjunct. Okay, so here is something about syntax as well. Shabbat Shalom.